Okay, friends, buckle up because this is a wild ride, and I genuinely need to know if I'm the problem here or if I just delivered the most justified revenge in history. I'm a 32-year-old woman living in Ohio, and up until March of this year, I was driving a beat-up 2009 Honda Civic that was literally held together by duct tape and prayers. The check engine light had been on for so long, I'd honestly forgotten what it was even warning me about. I work as a manager at a logistics company, and I'd been saving up for months to finally get myself into something reliable. In February, I decided it was time. I had about $3,000 saved up for a down payment, and my credit wasn't amazing, but it wasn't terrible either, around $650. I started looking around at dealerships in my area, and that's when I found Riverside Kia of Lakewood. They had this beautiful 2022 Kia K5 in this gorgeous dark blue color, and I fell in love with it immediately. The moment I walked onto the lot, the salesman, let's call him Derek, came rushing over with that classic car salesman energy. You know the type. Too much cologne, too white teeth, calling me sweetheart every other sentence. But whatever, I was there for a car, not to make friends. "Looking for something specific today, sweetheart?" Derek asked, already steering me toward the row of used vehicles. "Something reliable," I told him. "I need something that's actually going to get me to work without breaking down every other week." He showed me a few options, but I kept coming back to that K5. It had only 35,000 miles on it, looked practically brand new, and when I test drove it, it handled like a dream. I was sold. "This is the one," I told Derek. "What do we need to do to make this happen?" That's when things started getting a little weird. Derek took me inside to talk to the finance manager. We'll call him Brad. Brad was this guy in his mid-40s, slick back hair, wearing a suit that was just a bit too shiny. He had me sit down in his office and started pulling up all these documents on his computer. "Okay, so let's talk numbers," Brad said, typing away. "With your down payment and credit score, I think we can make this work. I'm going to get you preliminary approval right now." He had me fill out an application, asked me about my income, employment history, all the standard stuff. I told him I made about $52,000 a year as a manager, showed him my recent pay stubs, gave him all the information he needed. "Perfect, perfect," he kept saying, clicking through screens. "Okay, so I'm seeing preliminary approval from Mountain View Lending Services. This is great news. We're going to get you into this car today." I was thrilled. This was actually happening. My new car. No more duct tape Civic. Then Brad started sliding documents in front of me, and I mean a lot of documents. Purchase agreement, disclosure forms, warranty information, insurance waivers. It was overwhelming. He had me signing electronically on this tablet, and he was going through everything so fast. "This is just standard arbitration agreement. Sign here. This is your retail buyer's order. Sign here. This is your financing terms. Initial here, and sign at the bottom." I was trying to read everything, but Brad kept rushing me. "Don't worry, this is all standard stuff. We do this every day. You're getting a great deal here." There was one document about arbitration that I hesitated on. "What exactly is this one?" I asked. "Oh, that's just saying that if there's ever any dispute, we handle it through arbitration instead of going to court. It's faster and easier for everyone. Totally standard. Every dealership has this." I should have read it more carefully. I know that now. But I was excited, and he made it sound so routine, so I signed it. 2 hours later, I was driving off the lot in my beautiful new K5, and I felt like I was on top of the world. For the first few weeks, everything was perfect. I loved that car. I was making my payments on time, keeping it clean, treating it like my baby. I even bought one of those air fresheners that makes it smell like new car leather. Then, 3 weeks after I bought it, I got a weird call from Brad. "Hey, so we're just following up on some information with the lender," he said, his voice suddenly much less friendly than it had been on the lot. "What kind of documentation?" I asked. "I gave you my pay stubs." "Yeah, they just need to verify a few things. Can you send us your last 3 months of bank statements?" This felt off, but I sent them over. I had nothing to hide. A few days went by and I didn't hear anything, so I figured everything was fine. Then came March 29th, the day that changed everything. I was at work, in the middle of a meeting with my team about Q2 logistics planning. My phone buzzed with a call from an unknown number. I ignored it. I was in a meeting. Then it buzzed again, and again. Finally, I excused myself and stepped out to answer it. "Is this Maya Rodriguez?" a gruff voice asked. "Yes? Who's this?" "This is Tim from Riverside Kia of Lakewood. I'm calling to inform you that your vehicle has been repossessed." My heart stopped. "I'm sorry, what?" "Your 2022 Kia K5 has been repossessed. The lender determined that the income information provided was insufficient for final approval of your loan." "What are you talking about? I've been making my payments. I gave you everything you asked for." "Ma'am, this was a preliminary approval situation. Final approval was not granted. The vehicle has been recovered." "Recovered? You mean stolen? Where is my car?" "It was recovered from your place of employment approximately 20 minutes ago," he coldly said. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. I ran to the window overlooking the parking lot, and sure enough, my spot was empty. They'd taken my car. While I was inside working, while I was in a goddamn meeting. "You can't do this," I yelled into the phone. "I have things in that car. I need my car for work." "Any personal belongings will be cataloged and can be picked up at the dealership. Have a good day, ma'am." He hung up. I stood there in the hallway, shaking, on the verge of tears. My coworkers were asking if I was okay. I had to go back into my boss's office and explain that I needed to leave early because my car had just been repossessed. The humiliation was unbearable. One of my coworkers had to drive me home. I spent the entire drive staring out the window, replaying every moment of that purchase in my head. What had I done wrong? I'd given them everything they asked for. I'd been making my payments. How was this legal? That night, I couldn't sleep. I was furious. I kept thinking about Brad's smug face, Derek calling me sweetheart, the way they'd rushed me through those documents. Something wasn't right about this whole situation. I started Googling Riverside Kia of Lakewood. What I found made my blood boil. Page after page of horror stories. People saying the dealership was predatory. People who had their cars repossessed for no reason. People talking about hidden fees and deceptive practices. One review mentioned that they were really a buy here, pay here lot, pretending to be a legitimate new car dealership. Then I found something else. The Lakewood Municipal Court website has a public database of court cases. I looked up Riverside Kia of Lakewood. 73 cases. 73! This dealership was constantly suing people or being sued. They were repossessing cars left and right. This wasn't an isolated incident. This was their entire business model. I found one comment from someone claiming to be a former mechanic who worked there. "I used to install GPS trackers and ignition kill switches on every car that went out. They were preparing to repo these cars before people even drove them off the lot. It's a scam." A scam. I'd been scammed. I needed legal advice, so I made an appointment with a lawyer. Her name was Jennifer, and she specialized in consumer protection law. I brought her all my paperwork, explained the whole situation. "This is predatory lending," Jennifer said, shaking her head as she looked through my documents. "They give people preliminary approval, get them emotionally attached to the car, then pull the rug out from under them. And look at this arbitration clause. Your signature on this was electronic, right?" "Yes, Brad had me sign everything on a tablet." "Did you actually agree to this arbitration clause? Did you understand what you were signing?" He rushed me through it, said it was standard. "Here's the problem. This arbitration clause is going to make it very difficult to sue them in court. Arbitration heavily favors the dealership. It's private, there's no jury, and the arbitrator is usually someone who does repeat business with dealerships. Your chances of winning are slim." "So I'm just screwed? They can just steal my car and humiliate me, and I have no recourse?" "I didn't say that," Jennifer said. "Let me do some research. There might be other angles we can pursue." I left her office feeling defeated. I was back to driving my piece of crap Civic that I'd been so desperate to get rid of. Every time I turned the key and heard that engine sputter to life, I thought about that beautiful K5 and got angry all over again.
A week later, Jennifer called me. "Maya, I found something interesting." "What?" "I was doing research on Riverside Kia, looking into their corporate structure, checking their business registrations, that sort of thing. and I discovered that their business name registration with the Ohio Secretary of State has been canceled. What does that mean? It means they failed to renew it. The name Riverside Kia of Lakewood is just available. Anyone could register it. I didn't understand at first. So they're operating without proper registration? Technically, yes, but Maya, you could register that name yourself. There was a long pause as the implications of what she was saying sank in. Wait, I said slowly, are you saying I could take their name? I'm saying the name is available for registration. If someone were to register it, hypothetically, that person would own the legal rights to that business name in Ohio. How much does it cost to register a business name? $39. $39 for revenge that would be absolutely priceless. Do it, I said. Register it in my name, right now. Maya, I should warn you, this is going to make them very angry. They'll almost certainly sue you. Good, let them sue me. They've sued 73 other people. Let's see how they like being on the other side. Jennifer actually laughed. Okay, consider it done. 3 days later, I officially owned the rights to the name Riverside Kia of Lakewood. I had Jennifer draft the most beautiful cease and desist letter I've ever seen. It was professional, it was legal, and it was devastating. The letter informed Riverside Automotive Group, the parent company that owned the dealership, that the business name Riverside Kia of Lakewood was now registered to me, Maya Rodriguez, and that they were to immediately cease and desist from using this name for any business purposes. They were to remove the name from their building signage, their website, their business cards, their advertisements, everything. They were operating under my business name without my permission. We sent it via certified mail, so they'd have to sign for it. I wish I could have been there to see Brad's face when he opened that envelope. 2 days later, Jennifer got a very angry phone call from their lawyer, a man named Richard who was apparently very upset about the stunt I was pulling. Your client is attempting to extort my clients. This is harassment. This is tortious interference with the business. We will be pursuing all available legal remedies. Your client failed to maintain their business registration. My client legally registered an available business name. There's no extortion here. There's just a coincidence that the name your clients want to use happens to now belong to my client. This is clearly retaliation for the vehicle repossession. The arbitration agreement covers disputes about the car purchase. It says nothing about business name registration. Those are separate matters. I could hear Richard sputtering on the other end of the phone. "We'll see you in court," he finally said, and hung up. Jennifer turned to me with a huge grin. This is the most fun I've had in years. Riverside Automotive Group did exactly what I knew they would. They sued me. But their strategy was to try to force me into arbitration using that clause I'd signed when I bought the car. They filed a motion to compel arbitration, arguing that all disputes between me and the dealership had to be handled through arbitration, not in court. And here's the frustrating part. The lower court judge agreed with them. Judge Patterson looked at the arbitration agreement, saw my electronic signature on it, and ruled that the entire case, including my claim to the business name Riverside Kia of Lakewood, should be dismissed from his court and sent to arbitration. I was devastated. This was exactly what Jennifer had warned me about. Arbitration would be a kangaroo court where they had all the advantages. "We're appealing," Jennifer said immediately. "This judge is wrong. The arbitration agreement covers disputes about the car purchase. Your claim about the business name is a completely separate legal matter that has nothing to do with buying a car." How long will an appeal take? Months, maybe longer. Are you prepared for this to drag out? I thought about that day in March, coming out of my meeting to find my car gone. The humiliation, the anger, all those other people they'd done this to. "I'm prepared," I said. "I'm not backing down." The appeal went to Ohio's 3rd District Court of Appeals. We filed our brief in October, arguing that while I agreed to arbitration for disputes related to the car purchase, my claim over the business name Riverside Kia of Lakewood was a completely separate legal matter that had nothing to do with buying a car. Their lawyers argued that everything was connected, that I only registered the name because I was angry about the repossession, therefore it was all one big dispute about the vehicle transaction. Months went by. During this time, the dealership had to operate under a weird legal limbo. They couldn't use their name on new materials, but they also couldn't afford to completely rebrand while the case was pending. Their website had a banner that said, formerly known as Riverside Kia of Lakewood, which just made me smile every time I saw it. I got a lot of attention online. Someone had posted about my case on Reddit, and it kind of blew up. Most people were on my side, calling it justified revenge. Some people said I was being petty and vindictive. A few people even tried to dox me, which was scary. My family was split too. My mom thought I should just let it go and move on with my life. "Mija, is this really worth all this stress?" she'd ask me. My dad, though? My dad was proud. "You stood up to them," he said. "Too many people just take it when big companies screw them over. You fought back." Finally, in late July, the appeals court issued their ruling. They ruled in my favor. The 3-judge panel unanimously agreed that yes, I had consented to arbitration regarding the vehicle purchase. That part would have to go to arbitration if I wanted to pursue it. But, and this was the big but, my claim over the business name was not subject to arbitration. Judge Williamson wrote in the opinion, "The arbitration agreement covers disputes arising out of or related to the consumer transaction. The consumer transaction at issue was the purchase of the vehicle. The plaintiff's claim regarding the registration and use of the business name Riverside Kia of Lakewood is a separate matter that could be pursued independently of the claims related to the vehicle purchase. Since this claim does not fall within the scope of the arbitration agreement, this claim should not have been dismissed and sent to arbitration." They reversed Judge Patterson's decision and sent the case back to the lower court for further proceedings. I cried when Jennifer called to tell me. Not sad tears, victory tears. So, that's where we are now. The case is back in common pleas court, and Riverside Automotive Group is scrambling. They've tried to negotiate, offering to settle, offering to make things right with the original car purchase if I'll just give them their name back. But here's the thing. This was never really about the car. I mean, yes, I'm still angry about the car. Yes, I still think what they did to me was predatory and wrong. But this became about something bigger. This became about the 73 other people they sued, the hundreds of people they've scammed with their predatory lending practices, the former mechanic who installed GPS trackers knowing these cars were going to be repossessed. Someone had to stand up to them. Someone had to make them face consequences. And I found a completely legal way to do it. My friends are divided. Some think I'm a genius, some think I'm letting this consume too much of my life. My best friend Sarah said, "Girl, you literally own a car dealership's name. That's the most gangster thing I've ever heard." But my mom keeps saying, "When does it end, Maya? When are you going to move on?" And maybe she has a point. This has taken over a year of my life now. Legal fees, stress, constant anxiety about the case. I've spent more time thinking about Riverside Kia than I've spent thinking about almost anything else. But every time I think about backing down, I remember that phone call. "Your vehicle has been repossessed." I remember walking to the parking lot and seeing my empty space. I remember the shame of having to explain to my boss why I needed to leave early. They humiliated me, they scammed me, and they've done it to countless other people. So, no, I'm not backing down. They can negotiate all they want. They can offer me settlements. They can try to make me the villain in this story. But at the end of the day, I legally own their name. And if they want it back, they're going to have to admit what they did was wrong and face the consequences. So, friends, I ask you, am I the problem for taking their business name after they took my car? Am I being petty and vindictive? Or is this exactly the kind of karma these predators deserve? Because I genuinely don't know anymore. Some days I feel like a hero, standing up for all the people they've hurt. Other days I wonder if I'm just becoming as vindictive as they are. What would you do if you were in my position?